Hi, this is your video on writing literal equations, which is lesson 2.5a. So being able to rewrite equations and solve for a single variable is the learning goal. So the first thing we need to know is what is it? A literal equation is an equation with more than one variable. So you will see equations with multiple variables. Question number 1. We are solving the equation for t. So what you should do is grab a highlighter and then highlight the variable that you want to solve for. So in this case, t. From there, you're going to draw your river. We want to get the t by itself. That's attached to the r by multiplication. So I'm going to divide by r on both sides. That gives t by itself, and that leaves us with d over r, which is C for the correct answer. Problem number 2, we are solving the equation for pi. So find your highlighter, highlight pi. We want to get pi by itself. Pi is attached to the 2 by multiplication. It is also attached to r by multiplication. So to undo the multiplying of 2 and undoing the multiplying of r, we are going to divide by 2 and r. And we're going to do the same thing on both sides. That leaves me with pi all by itself because these cancel. And now I'm left with C over 2r. And then I can just rewrite that in the box here for my final answer. Question number 3, we are solving the equation for x. So highlighter, highlight x. We need to get x by itself. Draw your river. And we want to get rid of your acquaintance first. So that means I'm going to need to get rid of the b variable here. You could box that if you wanted. It doesn't really matter, but you're going to get rid of b first. So subtract b since it's being added. And then drop down what you haven't used yet. That's the m and the x equals, order does matter. So y came first, so y minus b. Use that highlighter again. Oops, we're highlighting x, which means we have to get rid of the m. It's attached by multiplication. So now I'm going to divide by m on both sides. That's going to give me x all by itself. Those cancel out. So I now have y minus b over m. And I can just rewrite that here as well for my final answer. Number 4, I'm solving the equation for b. To do that, I need to highlight b in the problem. And I can see there that I'm having b multiplied by 1/2 and multiplied by h. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of the multiplying by 1/2. When we're multiplying by a fraction, we're dividing, technically have to divide by 1/2, but that's just multiplying by the reciprocal. So what you're going to do is multiply that 1/2, multiply it by 2, or 2 over 1. And what you do on one side, you have to do on the other side as well. So that cancels, that 2 over 1 cancels with the 1/2. So now you're just left with b times h. And then on the other side, we have 2a. Again, don't lose track. You need to get b by itself, so highlighting b. Now we need to get rid of the h, which is attached by multiplication, so we're going to divide by h on both sides. That leaves b by itself, and I have 2a over h. I can rewrite that to fill in those boxes as well. Number 5, I am solving the equation for h this time. So highlight the variable h. Draw your river. Okay. We need to get h by itself, meaning we have to get rid of the timesing by 1/3 and the timesing by s to the 3rd power. We want to start with getting rid of that fraction first. So to do that, I'm going to divide by 1/3, fast forward, that's multiplying by the reciprocal. So we're going to take that 1/3 and multiply it by 3/1. That causes everything to cancel there. What I do on one side, I have to do on the other side, so I am multiplying the other side by 3 as well. So I am left with s to the 3rd power h on the right side, and on the left side is 3v. Again, highlight your variable, that's h. It's attached to the s to the 3rd power by multiplication. So to undo the multiplying, I need to divide by s to the 3rd on both sides. That will cancel out and leave me with just h. Over here, nothing cancels. I just have 3v over s to the 3rd. And I can rewrite that over on this side as well, just so it looks nicer. Number 6, solving the equation for b. Okay, so highlight your variable b, draw your river. The first thing is to get rid of that division. If you wanted to box your variable, you could there. Kind of another visual for you. You're going to multiply by c because you're dividing by c. So that will undo each other and cancel each other out. What you do on one side there, you have to do on the other side. So I have to multiply by c on the other side. So that leaves me with, on the right side, that leaves me with 4b because those c's canceled. And on the left side here, I have c times a, which is just ca. Now, rules in math, you want to have your variables go in ABC order. So I'm just going to change that to be AC. Okay. Again, highlight what you're trying to find. That's B, getting B by itself. It's attached to the 4 by multiplication, so I have to divide by 4 on both sides. B is now by itself because those cancel, and I have AC over 4. And then I can just rewrite that over here so that it looks nice. Number 7, I am solving the equation for the letter F. So highlighting F, drawing my river. Okay, the variable is up in this top part, so if you wanted to box it, there's your visual there. That shows you very clearly that you need to multiply by 8 first. What you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. Those cancel, so you have F plus 7E, and then that equals 8 times H, which is 8H. Highlight your variable again so you know what to look for. You need to get F by itself. This time the 7E is attached by adding, so I'm going to subtract 7E on both sides. That leaves F equals. Now, these are not like terms because they're different variables. So that's just going to be 8H minus 7E. And then, because I did tell you, you do technically want them to be in alphabetical order, E does come before H. So another option for F, okay, would be to flip-flop these. This is 7E is a negative 7. So negative 7E, this 8H was positive, so plus 8H. Either option would be correct. Number 8, the last one, we are solving the equation for the letter N, so highlighting N in the problem. Okay, you're going to notice here that N is all by itself in the denominator. That's an issue. We can't do that very easily. So to get the N up top, we're going to have to multiply by N on both sides. When we do that, it's actually going to bring the N over to the other side here. It's going to cancel here, which is okay. And we have 2K minus J left. But now we've brought it over here because N times M is just going to be NM, but putting it in ABC order using the commutative property, we have MN. From there, highlight your variable again. This is why it's very important to highlight. because now your variable is actually over on the other side of your river, which is fine. But highlighting it draws our attention, and I can see now that that I am currently multiplying m times n, which means to get n by itself, I'm going to have to divide by m on both sides. So that leaves me with n equals, because those cancel, 2k minus j all divided by m. There's nothing there that can happen, so that is just my answer. N is 2k minus j all divided by m.